So we're going to start, so this is going to be attached to the wall, so we're going to need to cover the bottom first. All right, so we're going to start, this is a 2x4, so it's 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, so this should be 3 inches. Yep. So we're going to need to take a piece of 1x6, or 1x4, I'm sorry, rip it down to 3 inches by 24. And we can go a little heavy, just to double check that we're not inside. I went with the pre-primed pine. All right. Again, we're going to square up one edge. I like this side better. And we can even use our 2x4 as a reference. So I'm going to be cutting that at the same size. If anything, we want to make the 1x a little bit bigger than the 2x4. So we can just make our line and we'll just leave the line. This project is pretty simple. I mean, I'm going to wrap this with a crown molding, with a solid crown, which might be a little intimidating to people, but it's really easy to do, and I'll show it. But you can do this with or without crown molding. You can do a more modern-looking shelf, which will just be a square shelf, and which I can show you what that will look like. But I like. The decor I have in my house is more traditional, so I like to wrap it with a molding. So you can do it with or without a molding. It's just preference, but I will show you. So these are going to be attached to the wall. So we will screw one to the wall first. We have to make sure that we find our studs first. And then this is going to be attached to the bottom. So we're going to have to rip this down to 3 inch. Because again, like I said, these are both 1.5 inches, so we want to make it, we're going to go 3 a little heavy. To 3 inches. We'll go a little heavy. Let's go 3 inches a little heavy. Again, we'll determine which side is nicer on the wood, which this has a little gouge there, so I'm going to take that off. Let's say that the table is the wall. Okay, so these are going to be attached to the wall like so, and I'll show when I attach it. And this is going to be our bottom. Now we're going to take a 1x6, or we can use a 1x4 still. If you're not going to be using the crown, then you would want to rip down a 1x6 and have it go the entire way. But right now we can just wrap this with a 1x4. And then we'll put our crown molding on. Our next step, so this is the bottom of our shelf. This is going to be the top. So our next step is we need to cut a piece, which we can use 2x6. This isn't long enough. I'm going to use another piece of stock I have. I can use this for the sides, but we're going to wrap this now. So we need to make a rip at 4 3/16. Now it's okay if we come a little bit above as well. So 4 3/16 is perfect. All right, and that'll bring us right to the top. So I have this piece I can use for my sides. So I'm going to cut another piece. It's going to have to be a little longer than 2 foot because you have to account for the 3/4 on each side. So I have a piece of 1x12 here. You could just, if you're going to purchase wood, just purchase 2x6. This is just what I had. And I'm going to cut this a little long first. So I'm just going to make this 27 inches for now. Again, this is long. I'm going to come back and cut it down to size. All right, so now we have our 2 pieces. Let's get this out of the way. All right, so now we're going to set the saw to 4 3/16. All right. And I'll just rip these down. This is scrap. I'll use this for something else. Okay, so now I left this a little long. So we can take this, and rather than butt them together, I like to 45 them. So I'm going to put a 45-degree cut on these. So we can take this and flip it just so we have the accurate measurement. We don't need the bottom right now. So we're going to put this right here. Just make 2 marks. I'm going to flip our miter saw to go on a 45-degree angle. And now I'm cutting it from the back. So you're just going to line up your line. And kind of just chop away at it until you get right where you want to be. All right, and then we're going to flip the wood and do it again. Now it's okay if we leave it a little bit long. It's better to be long than short. So we'll kind of leave the line. Now we're going to make our sides. So let's make sure we have a straight cut on each side of this. As long as you're holding everything nice and straight, nice and flat up against a flat surface, it's pretty simple. And then you just make your mark. And again, if this is sticking a little bit past, you want it to be the same size as this. Okay, so this is going to be my left side. So I'm going to mark that left. And this is going to be my right. So I'm going to hold that down, put my mark. And there we have it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-assemble this. So I'm going to put just this together so it can slide right over after we install this onto the wall. So we're going to put this off to the side. I'm going to put this crown over here. And we're going to take our 18 gauge brad gun. Make sure we have nails. I'm using 1 1/4" nails again. Actually, let me just open these up. Oh, these are 16s. You know what, this should be enough for now. I'm going to have to find some more nails in a minute. But. All right, so we're going to take our glue, because glue is our friend. You want to glue your miter. I like to rub it in. All right, whatever's left, you can rub right onto that side. Now you want to make sure, I like to put my good end up. So you make sure that this is nice and flush. All right, so you're going to hold this nice and tight. Now this might take a little getting used to. So if you're not comfortable with this right away, you might want to take a couple scrap pieces and just practice putting your corners together. Right. If you're not comfortable doing 45s, I mean, you could always just overlap them and make them straight.
Right. Okay.
But then you're going to have that rough sewn edge.
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer to 45 things. So just hold it, let the glue set for a second. So hold that nice and tight. And I'll put 3 nails in. Right, we'll flip her over. Make sure the primed edge is up. It's nice and flush. So let's just cut this to, let's just say 30 inches. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We'll mark it and cut it. So let's Let's just cut these straight first. Let's just say, I mean, it depends how much waste you want to have, but let's just cut another piece at, let's say, 1 foot. So I'm not using the crown molding, which I am, but in this case, if we're not going to use the crown molding, then you're going to cut 2 of these. So you're going to have a top and a bottom. Okay? So you have your top and your bottom, and then you would just make this 3/4 of an inch larger. And that would slip over. And then you could always put a cap on it, or you could just leave it nice and square like this, and that would be your shelf.
Okay.
Okay? Or you could leave it as is, just how we have this, and then just build a cap, which we're going to do. We're going to put a cap on our crown molding.
Gotcha.
Just to have a little bit more. So you can build this like that and just leave a little bit of a reveal around the edge, and that's more of a modern looking shelf. Rub that in. All right, now you want to just hold that nice and tight. And I'll put my nail right there where the hump is. There's one. And just make sure you're nicely lined up. One. 2, 3. So now we're just going to want to measure this. So you're going to take your tape measure and measure your crown molding. We have 28 3/8. Let me just double check that, make sure everything's square. 28 3/8. Okay, now you want to figure out what you want your overhang to be. So I normally go with, if I'm doing a flat, I would do let's go with a 1/2 inch overhang. And then we're going to round that off. So we're going to add 1 inch to this measurement because we're going to have a 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here. So I said 28 3/8, so we're going to make it 29 3/8. All right, so we'll write that down. 29 3/8. Oh, my mic just fell. Sorry. Oh, the clip. I didn't have it clipped. Sorry. All right, so we're going to have 29 3/8, and we're going to measure this way as well. And we're going to add a 1/2 inch. So we got 5 1/4. 5 1/4 a little light. 5 1/4 light. So we're going to add a 1/2 inch to that. So we'll just make this 5 3/4, maybe a little bit light. So 5 1/4 plus a 1/2 inch is 5 3/4. And by light, I mean taking a little bit extra off. So when I write light, I usually put a little minus symbol. If I want to make it heavy, I'll put a plus. All right. So we're going to go back, and now if you're only using 1/6, you're going to need to get you're going to need to use 1/8 for this, because a 1/6 is 5 1/2 inches. So you're going to need a 5 3/4 inch piece for the top. So you're going to have to. I would just purchase a 1/8 to make this. As many nails